The greatest environmental threat is what we are currently dealing with. Whatever our interests, climate change will have an impact on something we care about. By far the biggest contributor to global warming, fossil fuels like coal, oil, and gas account for more than 75% of greenhouse gas emissions and almost 90% of carbon dioxide emissions. As the planet is covered in greenhouse gas emissions, the heat from the sun is trapped. This leads to climate change and global warming. The world is currently warming at a rate faster than any time in recorded history. Changing weather patterns and upsetting the natural order are effects of rising temperatures over time. This poses a serious threat to all life on Earth, including humans. Causes and effects of climate change. Generating power. A sizable portion of the emissions that contribute to climate change are caused by burning fossil fuels to generate electricity and heat. Burning coal, oil, or gas still accounts for most electricity production, which releases carbon dioxide and nitrous oxide, two powerful greenhouse gases that cover the Earth and trap solar heat. More than 25% of the world's electricity is produced by renewable energy sources, because they produce little to no greenhouse gases or other air pollutants in comparison to fossil fuels. Manufacturing goods. The primary source of emissions from manufacturing and industry is burning of fossil fuels to produce the energy required to produce goods like clothing, electronics, plastics, cement, iron and steel. As well as during mining, other industrial processes, and construction activities, gases are released. Numerous machines used in the production process run on coal, oil, or gas in addition to the fact that some materials, like plastic, are made from chemicals derived from fossil fuels. Globally, the manufacturing industry is one of the biggest sources of greenhouse gas emissions. Cutting down forests. To make room for farms, pastures, and other uses, it must be cleared. When trees are cut down, the carbon they have stored is released into the atmosphere. 12 million hectares of forests are destroyed annually. It reduces the ability of nature to keep emissions out of the atmosphere, because they absorb carbon dioxide. Together with agriculture and other changes in land use, deforestation accounts for 25% of global greenhouse gas emissions. Using transportation, most cars, trucks, ships, and planes run on fossil fuels. That makes transportation a major contributor of greenhouse gases, especially carbon dioxide emissions. Road vehicles account for the largest part, due to the combustion of petroleum-based products, like gasoline, in internal combustion engines. The majority of carbon dioxide emissions related to energy come from transportation. In addition, trends suggest that over the next few years, energy use for transportation will rise significantly. However, emissions from ships and aircraft are still rising. Producing food, in addition to deforestation and clearing land for agriculture and grazing, digestion by cows and sheep, production and use of fertilizers and manure for growing crops, and the use of energy to run farm equipment or fishing boats, typically with fossil fuels, are all ways that producing food contributes to the release of greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide and methane. All of this makes the production of food a significant cause of climate change. Additionally, the packaging and distribution of food produces greenhouse gas emissions. Powering buildings. Over half of all electricity used worldwide is consumed by homes and businesses. They continue to produce a sizable amount of greenhouse gas emissions, because they need to heat and cool their homes with coal, oil, and natural gas. Recent years have seen an increase in energy-related carbon dioxide emissions from buildings, because of rising energy demand for heating and cooling, rising air conditioner ownership, and increased electricity consumption for lighting, appliances, and connected devices. Consuming too much. How much greenhouse gas is emitted depends on many factors, including how much energy we use at home, how we move around, what we eat, and how much waste we produce. The use of goods like plastic, electronics, and clothing has a similar effect. A sizable portion of the world's greenhouse gas emissions come from private households. The environment is significantly impacted by our daily actions. Global greenhouse gas emissions, which are higher than those of the poorest 50% of people combined, are primarily the fault of the richest 1% of the world's population. To accelerate climate action, governments, businesses, and members of civil society are working together on climate initiatives. The initiatives, which were launched at the UN's 2019 Climate Action Summit, are aimed at reducing emissions, tackling significant issues like jobs and gender equality, releasing funding, building sustainable infrastructure, utilizing nature-based solutions, and advancing adaptation and climate resilience. It is more crucial than ever for the UN to act as a catalyst, encourage people to cooperate, establish ambitious goals, and take the necessary actions to keep the rise in global temperature to 1.5 degrees Celsius or less. The United Nations also supports the shift to a low-carbon, sustainable economy that is fair and beneficial to everyone. In conclusion, Consumer Trading Organization Limited will keep showcasing fresh ideas.